Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Yes, I know it's Wednesday. It's 2023 Walt Disney World Package Launch Day. Oh, my fingers hurt. This one of those days I miss teaching. But today, enough about that. We are going to have a fun trip report with Jess. She's out in New Jersey, so we're getting ready to do that. Hey, Jess, thanks for coming on. We're getting ready to start. What's going on?
I'm ready to do this. I love the trip reports and I'm happy to share mine.
This is going to be a fun one. Okay, so it looks like all the sound looks good. It's a miracle. I just got retweeted by I love turtles. No, I like turtles. That's so funny. Oh, because I posted a picture of Riley this afternoon. I took her for a walk and there was a little snapper turtle on the path and she was like all sniffing it and all curious about it. And I think I hashtagged it turtles. I'm like, why is there a turtle account retweeting me? Okay. All right, let's stop that. And what episode is this? 2102. How did that ever happen?
Amazing.
Holy smoly. All right. There's no holidays this Monday. Wait, it's not Flag Day, is it? Let me look.
Next week, yeah.
Is it Monday though?
No. Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday the 14th. So no holidays on Monday. And I remembered my anniversary halfway through the Friday show. I almost forgot it. And then something came up and I remembered it because I told Pam and Ricky, I was like, don't let me forget during the Friday show. I was recording Monday. I was like, don't let me forget. My anniversary's Friday. I got to say happy anniversary. And I totally got like 3/4 of the way through the show, forgot. My wife would never listen to a podcast episode. I don't think she's heard any, but
maybe that one.
It gets back to her. You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't listen, but she has people that will tell her. Your husband didn't say happy anniversary. All right, so we're clear. Nothing happening Monday. All right. All righty. 2101 or 2102. Here we go. Oh, let me hit this real quick. Tweet. All right. Here we go. And hey, Margie and Herschel. Thanks for being here. All right. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2102 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Of course, happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and you are settling in to that summer state of mind. And today, of course, it's Monday, so that means it's time for a trip report. And of course, here in the Midwest, because you guys know, especially our patrons know that I'm Mike in the Midwest. That's my alter ego. But in the Midwest, we are definitely right about now settled into that summer state of mind. But if you're on the East Coast, the summer hasn't arrived yet. You may still be in school if you work in education or if you have kids. I can't believe it. There's no way I could survive on the East Coast right now. I mean, we're already got our tans. We've got the hammocks laid out. We've already used our, passes for the pool 3, 4, 5 times at this point. I'm praying for you, East Coasters. But then again, you'll be giving it back to us come Labor Day when you're still on break and we're in the second quarter of school. So anyway, joining us today, she works in education. So we already had this conversation. Jess is out in New Jersey. Jess, thanks for coming on the show today. What's going on?
Hi, Mike. How's everyone?
Everybody's doing great here. And we were talking before we recorded, still just kind of finishing up that last final sprint there to the finish. And I don't know how you guys do it. Like any school in June should be illegal, in my opinion.
I agree. We kicked off Memorial Day weekend. If you're from Jersey, you understand going down the shore. And these last 3 weeks are tough. So we're pushing through till the 21st.
Okay,
then we're done.
I listened to a couple other podcasts, and one of the shows I listened to, I listen to a ton of podcasts. I just love podcasts in general, always have. And one of them I listen to is 3 guys that are runners. They're friends. They live in Buffalo, New York. And the one guy always goes to the shore for vacation every summer, talks about it. So again, never been to New Jersey. I think maybe I have, because I went to a Phillies game once. And I think the guy that my dad's friend who pitched for the Phillies, I want to say he lived in New Jersey. Would that work? I mean, could you live in New Jersey? And
Oh yeah, there's definitely Jersey suburbs of Philly.
Okay. So I think he did live in New Jersey because we stayed at his house and then he pitched for the Phillies. So I think I was like there for like 24 hours or something to stay at his house. But anyway, this guy on this podcast always talks about going to the shore. So going to the shore, like what are the highlights? Has he talked about going to some like seafood restaurants? I mean, what do you do when you go to the shore?
I mean, it's everything. It's the whole coastline. So there's everything from the boardwalks and the carnival rides and games to really pretty beaches all the way down to Cape May, at the southern tip, Victorian mansions, and good food up and down, Jersey vibes, some Philly vibes. There's definitely some more Philly populated beaches at the shore, but it's beautiful. Come over.
I'm sure you guys have some Eagles jerseys, Phillies jerseys floating around.
You notice as you go more south, it changes. Yep.
Yeah, we have some. I could imagine the vibe is kind of similar to maybe Branson. Just Branson's probably got a lot of older people here in Missouri, but maybe not. I don't know. It's a little different than Walt Disney World, but no less fun. It's a good time. Anyway, let's talk about your trip because we have so much to talk about. We're talking about a little Run Disney today, which has me excited because you were down for Princess Weekend, and Princess signups are right around the corner. They just got our money for Marathon Weekend, and here we go again. And I'm not trying to amp up the stress, people. I know we're just now catching our breath from everything that happened with Marathon Weekend registrations. It can't be that bad again. I don't know. I mean, we're recording this before it happens. Please don't let it be that bad again, but we'll have the Discord server open for the Be Our Guest Lizard. So if you want to hang out that morning and check everybody's status reports, we'll do it on the Discord server again. But we're going to be talking about Princess Weekend, some fun stays. So tell us about, well, first of all, as I always ask everybody, give us your background on your Disney fandom. Then let's talk about how this trip came together. So tell us that.
Okay. So newish to Disney in 2016. That was my family's first trip. It was a trip that was for my 5-year-old son and my 3-year-old daughter. And it was right at the time where we were grieving the loss of my mom and their grandmother. And the magic of Disney helped us through that. And then we went every year since. Jersey Week from Jersey, November 2016, 17, 18, 19. We got down right at the end of 2020 and just continue to go. Our 21 trip was in Disneyland. And then I went to Princess in February. So been multiple times, different ways, different places to stay, different groups of people. So I went head in, but pretty recently.
I love it. Kind of newer to the fandom, but like totally in at this point. Now, I got to ask you, because I've only mentioned it like 17,242 times at this point, but I am going to Disneyland here very soon in the next couple of weeks. You went to Disneyland. What's one thing that's kind of a sleeper hit that you would tell me? Like you were out there, something surprised you, something, because I've never been. I've done Walt Disney World many times.
I mean, I guess it's personal, but we absolutely loved California Adventure, and we actually didn't stay long at Disneyland. We only had one day, and we were park hopping, and we enjoyed DCA so much. We hopped over to Disneyland, and we're like, it was too crowded, too compact. So we went right back to California Adventure, and we had a blast. We walked everywhere, stayed off site, and it was so easy. My kids got soaked on Splash Mountain. They ran out, changed at the hotel, and came right back. So you'll love it. You'll absolutely
I've heard that the Splash Mountain, it's no joke. I've heard you get like Cali River Rapids wet. Like it's not just a little spritz.
Yes, and I did not go on, so I stayed in the parks while my husband took them to change.
That just sounds wrong. I don't want to get that wet, but I'm doing everything. And you know what? Scott, the other day we were talking about this because Scott will be out there at the same time. Of course, we got to do this together. And he was telling me he thinks that maybe California Adventure is his favorite theme park of all of them. Of all the Walt Disney World theme parks, Disneyland, California Adventure is number one. I was like, wait, what? But he loved it. He said it was awesome. So
you'll see for yourself soon.
I'll find out. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Anyway, so let's talk about this trip. So how did this particular Princess trip come together? Because I know you went down with some special people. So tell us about that and how you guys like planned it out and got it together.
Sure. So this was originally a 21 Princess plan with different people, my cousins. And then once that was canceled, the next registration came out and my cousins pulled out. So I was registered solo. I said, I'm doing this. I've been training. I had never run in my life, legit couch potato. And I said, I trained for this. I'm going to keep training and I'm going by myself. My husband had no interest. I said, good, stay with the kids. I'll go. Mm-hmm. And then about a month before the trip, maybe a month and a half, very good friend of mine said, I'm going to come with you. and I'm going to be by your side. I'm going to wake up with you at 2:30 in the morning. I'm going to be at the whole event. I said, you're crazy for doing that.
Yeah.
And she said, nope. And she is a runner and amazing with exercise and working out. So I knew I'd appreciate her with me. She knows nothing about Disney. Put all the planning in my hands. And she said, let's go have a mom's weekend away, run your 10K. We'll eat and drink and have a good time together. And that's exactly what we did.
Okay, so let me ask you about this, kind of jumping forward just a bit before we dive into this. So Ashley's down there, and you mentioned before we start recording, you were trying to get her registered at the last minute, but it'd pop open, it would close. Every once in a while you'd see an opening. But I mean, really once the races go on sale and they sell out, it's very hard to kind of get those bibs. When Ashley saw how everything unfolded, since she is a runner and somebody who's kind of into these things, you said you weren't bitten by the bug too hard. Kind of a spoiler for the end of the trip report. But do you think she was? Do you think she really wanted to be out there, or was it?
I think she wanted to be running and competing. She runs to run.
Me too. That's me too. I'd hate to just watch. That'd drive me crazy.
Right, and that's why my husband was not interested, because he wants to win the race, and that's not what really Run Disney really feels like. So she enjoyed it. I don't think either that would be a race that she would sign up for. But
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like if I was going to be there, I just want to be a part of it. Like I wouldn't be that close watching. I love seeing my friends and everybody and cheering, because I've cheered many a race, but I like to be out there, like be a part of the event. So I'm just curious, since she was somebody that gets into this stuff. Okay, so let's talk about, you stayed at 2 hotels. You guys stayed at the Grand Destino Tower over at Coronado, and then you guys went over to the Dolphin. So let's talk about travel down, arrival, first night at Grand Destino, arrival day. How'd you guys arrive and kind of settle in?
Yeah, so being an educator, it's very hard to take time off. So taking 2 days off is a no-no. So I took a day and a half. So we arrived later, like 5:30 on Thursday. No weather issues, being February in New Jersey. I was worried about that. So we got down, we Ubered right to Grand Destino. I had personally, since I was going solo, I wanted to do things that I had never seen before, and Ashley was along for the ride. So I really wanted to see the tower, and it really was beautiful. The smell in the lobby we loved. Our room obviously was ready by then, so we literally just dropped our bags and we looked out our window and we saw the three bridges, and we said, okay, we're going there. And the beauty of not having kids, we didn't have any reservations anywhere. We just walked right up. They said, sure, grab any seat by the bar or wherever. So that's exactly what we did. We enjoyed the sangria flight, which we didn't love all of them. We had some margaritas, grabbed some dinner, and it was a beautiful setting. We really, really enjoyed that spot.
I still haven't made it to Three Bridges. I've tried to go there. I've stayed at Coronado like probably 3 or 4 times since it's open, but it's just, I'm always either at my grill or just going somewhere else. I got to give it a shot. Is it, you recommend it though, even though the sangria flight wasn't exactly what you were hoping for?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we like that, the style of the food at Coronado. So I don't even remember what we had, but I'm sure tacos and just lighter food. We were hungry, but not starving. We were also wondering if we were going to end up at Toledo later night, in the evening for a bigger dinner. So it was more like appetizers and drinks at that point.
So you guys did head up to Toledo though, right? You went to the bar. So what was, because the only time I've been up there, I've walked around it, but it was during COVID. It wasn't open, but they could, you could walk into the main part of the restaurant and just kind of look around.
Yeah.
So basically you go to the top of the tower and look around on the observation deck out there. But what was the vibe up there?
It was very adult vibe. It felt like a Vegas lounge in a way. It was modern. Everything was beautiful in there. We went up there. In my head, I thought you could see fireworks, and we started seeing people gravitate towards the balcony. I never really saw anything. I don't know if I was looking in the wrong direction. People were pointing, so maybe that's Riviera or a different hotel that I was getting confused, where you can see outside. But again, the drinks were fancier. They were more crafty cocktails. The service was amazing. And yeah, we enjoyed it. And then we were really tired, and we went right a couple floors down and went to bed.
It's beauty of having all that stuff on site at your hotel. When you stay at, I always say deluxe hotels, because you have lots of, lounges and table service restaurants, but Coronado, because it's also a convention hotel, kind of scratches all those itches too, right there, and boom, you just go to your room, catch an
It was
Uber.
great. It was great for an adult,
Yep.
mom's trip. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so Friday you're there, you're like, you're starting the day off on property and you got a lot going on. You're going to first of all transfer over to the Dolphin, but this is your day where you're going to get to go to the Expo, and that's when actually for me the excitement of a Run Disney weekend really amps up. Like when you hit over to ESPN, it's like, oh man, see all the runners, you see about their bibs and their merchandise, and I get so excited. I'm just talking about it right now. I'm ready for my next race. I got to wait till November. So tell us about this day, making the transfer and then going from there.
Yeah, we were so excited. I was so excited, and she was excited for me. Yeah, we couldn't decide what the best logistics for that transfer was, but we decided to just get all of our stuff to Dolphin. They are literally across the street from each other, maybe a couple of turns on a highway, but it was so close. It was like a $5 Uber. We had to store our bags, and then we went right to the bus area. And this was my first mistake. I didn't realize the Expo buses wouldn't be where the Disney transportation was. So we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. And I see coach buses going by. I'm like, nah, that can't be it. And we waited a very long time. And, here I am, a tour guide for Ashley. And I'm like, oh, it's usually better than this. And then we realized we were clearly in the wrong place.
It's okay. Now, I mean, really, because there are a lot of different logistics with a Run Disney weekend, but now, and
Yes.
you know what? The runners get the comfortable buses.
Oh, they were beautiful. And at least I knew for the next morning, because that would have been, terrible.
Yes, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Way better to do it to the Expo than at 3:00 in the morning for the race.
Yep. So we got to Expo, no problem after that. And it was so nice having Ashley with me, because I took the cheesiest pictures. I hate every one of them because it just, I just feel uncomfortable in them. And I just laughed about it because I felt so awkward taking so many pictures by myself. But at least I have them. Everything was simple. There was no lines. This was Friday, 10, 11 o'clock. No lines for anything. I'm not a huge buyer. I actually didn't buy anything except for like my first pair of Gooder sunglasses.
Oh my gosh. I don't buy them, but people that have them swear by. I mean, like Scott, I think has 50 pair. He has like one for every mood.
Yeah, I was happy. I've been happy with the purchase. But got the bib, got the shirt, got the 6.2 mile sign, big picture that I wanted. And it was beautiful weather the whole time we were there, and we were coming from winter, and now all of a sudden it was warm, and we were happy. So the Expo is fantastic.
Yeah, folks that don't come from the north, you do not understand that last statement and how important that is for like marathon weekend, Princess Half Marathon week. This is the draw for those 2 weekends. If you are from Missouri, New Jersey, Canada, Minnesota, I don't care, Montana, Nebraska, wherever, Iowa, someplace like that, you get down there and it's instantly summer for a weekend.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you may never go back to your family. You're just like, well, I don't want to go back to where it hurts to be alive. You bring up that point, and right now it's nice everywhere in the States, but you think about it in the wintertime and it lifts. I mean, you're excited to be there because of your Disney, you're getting ready to do a race, and they got all the music's pumping at the Expo. Everybody's encouraging you, see all the signs like good luck runners. That gets me all amped up. But I mean, you bring up a great point. I mean, you get to see the green grass and just smell like warm tropical. You feel humidity for the first time in 6 months.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And back in Jersey, it was actually an ice storm. The schools, had a delayed opening and all this. So we were laughing at our husbands because they had to deal with all of that. But we were sweating. Yeah. We were hot.
I always tell Scott my trip's always better in the winter if the weather's worse back home. Like if I hear there's a snowstorm or it's like, wind chill warning or something, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes my trip even. I hate to say that, but it makes me feel like, okay, I'm getting my money's worth even more. Okay, so anyway, and sorry, I mean, I'm so mean like that, but you had a pool day before your 10K race, which I like because one, you're at the Dolphin and they have pretty nice pool area there, and you're taking advantage of the amenities of the hotel, and it's an adult's trip.
Yep.
Why run yourself into the ground today? So how did this kind of rest of the day work out for you?
Yeah, we took the bus back to Dolphin, and I've stayed at Dolphin many, many times. I'm personally a big fan, and definitely that area. And the pool is great. And with COVID now, you order everything at your chair. You just scan the QR code, and all of our just food and our drinks arrived, and we were at the pool for a good couple of hours. So again, just me and my mom friend and a cocktail or two and good food and perfect weather. And
FaceTime back home. How's that ice storm treating you guys?
yeah, just some texts here and there. I didn't need to see anybody. But yeah, perfect relaxation day. But the nerves were starting for the next day. I have to admit, it was on my mind, so that I was relaxed, but I was thinking about the next early wake up.
Well, because the whole thing is, and that's exactly it. It's the early wake up because you're deciding like, okay, really, I need to try to go to bed, try to unwind at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock or, what have you. You're starting to count backwards from the time you got to get up for how many hours of sleep you want to get. It does, I've told this to many, many people because I've done so many of these races at this point that honestly, it doesn't matter because you're not going to sleep that well anyway. I've done so many of these races. I mean, I have piles of shirts from all the weekends I've done, and I still, before a 10K, a 5K, a half marathon, like I still don't sleep. I get nervous before all of them. And I think it's a nerve / excitement of seeing everybody and being out there and having the fun that I have. But, I used to try to force myself to go to bed like at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Now it's like, if I get back to the room 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm like, I wasn't going to be asleep anyway because I just lay there and just look at the ceiling. Because the thing is, like, you get woken up by the fireworks, right? I mean, the 9 o'clock, okay, Epcot, 10 o'clock now you hear him at the Magic Kingdom. So it's like, well, I'm not going to be asleep anyway because it's going to wake me up. So, I mean, was that kind of what you were feeling? I know, did you like lay stuff out? I mean, did you get set up and all that stuff?
Yep. So after our pool day, we had gone to Disney Springs and I wanted to show Ashley that whole area. And we had, we stopped at the hangar bar first and then we ate at the boathouse.
Nice.
So it was just a nice relaxing evening, but then we were like, all right, let's get back. So we Ubered a lot, that we did some buses, but we just hopped on an Uber. And, being that she's run a lot of races, she told me to lay everything flat on the ground of my tank top, my bib, my pants, my shoes, my socks, my earbuds, everything. So everything was right there. We went through it. And then she fell asleep right away. I was definitely up.
She had no skin in the game. Once she was like, I've done my part, I'm going to bed.
Yep. I even loaded up the coffee machine with the water. So all I had to do was press the button. So everything was ready to go. We set probably 5 or 6 alarms because that was definitely a paranoid, feeling too, that we wouldn't wake up. I think we set it for 2:55. I think we were going back and forth, hearing people's opinions on what time to actually get there. It was a good time. I still think maybe we got there a little too early, but I'm not going to complain that we made it because I know a lot of people had some bus issues that race. So yeah, I fell asleep eventually. Maybe got like 3 or 4 hours.
That's a lot for a race weekend for me, honestly, because I can't sleep. But you did the right thing, and I always take my picture of my flat person.
Oh, yes, that's what you called it, flat Jess.
Exactly. Yeah, flat Jess, flat Mike. And we're ready to rock. The way. Plus, too, if you have your bib on your shirt and everything that's laid out, people can know what your number is if they want to track you back home. Just. So my wife's back here in January. This way she can just check my text because there's a way to track you. Like, okay, your husband is still alive at mile 22 of the marathon on Sunday. Thumbs up. So, I tell her just check my Twitter, post on Twitter. Okay, so the time is here. It's time for the 10K Saturday, and you wake up. Okay, let me ask you because I don't know how much of this you remember, but when that alarm goes off and you get up. Because it is, it's not even morning at this point. Really, it is. If you've never run these races, you are like, every time the alarm goes off, I feel like I just fell asleep. And then, I'm like, where am I? First of all, I'm in a hotel room and it is dead in the middle of the night. It's not even like the sun's going to come up for like 3 more hours. And then you got to get all dressed and, but then as soon as you walk out of the room, it's kind of chilly, but you see all these runners walk into the buses. So walk us through that morning, getting over to the race start.
Okay, sure. So, I'm not used to talking to anybody in the morning. So that was, we had to be polite to each other, and especially Ashley, like going through the checklist. And she was just so great with making sure I had everything. So we were ready to go, pretty quickly. I think 2:55, the alarm went off. We were on the bus at 3:15. So it was a very quick,
man, you were
two of us to get ready and out the door. Yeah. And I should mention, we had our park bags packed at all because we had no plans to come back to the hotel. So we had everything. We were ready to go.
Whoa, you were going to go straight from the race finish into the parks and not even come back to the hotel.
Yes, because I am super slow. I'm very, very slow. And I wanted to get to Magic Kingdom for rope drop. So there was no time to come back
That's aggressive. I like it.
Yeah. Yep. And she was up for it. So yeah, we were, I think 3:30, 3:40, we were at Epcot. It was a very long walk. I think I had heard that, but
Yep, it
but
is.
everyone's taking picture. Oh, I should mention the costumes, just seeing everybody in those costumes. And I don't think I don't think Ashley expected the amount
Right.
of people. So it was just fun. It was people watching. She ran into one or two people that she knew, which was crazy. So that was exciting. At that hour of the morning, we again took tons of pictures. It was black night out. It was surreal to be there at that time a day. But I was taking everything in.
Was it because you have the race announcers, which I've kind of developed a relationship over the years. I talk to them on social media. Sometimes I talk to them over the race weekends. They're great people. I mean, to a person, because for me, they are part of the experience at this point because they really do help you pass all that time. Because you're right, you're there so long, but they just have to get you there though, because they have to get so many people all staged in the right place. I get it why we're there so early, but it stinks. I mean, because you got to stand there for like 2 hours sometimes in the cold and the dark.
It
Just waiting
was,
to
and
go. But did you feel like that vibe? Like it was kind of they were building you up to really, set up the experience so that when they started the race, you were like really, really because they get me amped up. I feel like I could like go to the Olympics by the time the race starts.
yeah. Oh, they were great. And that's like, I was so thankful that I had something to watch and focus on instead of just sitting there being nervous because obviously Ashley and I separated.
Yep.
I was in the last corral. I put myself there because I thought maybe it would mean I could arrive later, but that didn't really work out. So I was, I was there for a while and a long, long time until they even opened the corral. As I've gotten older, I've gotten really terrible with claustrophobia. So I had done a lot of research, like how high does the gate come up? So if I feel claustrophobic, I could like climb over it or even, so all of that started as people started packing in and packing in, packing. And that's when I started to get a little nervous, but I always knew that, the end goal was to cross that start line and just get started. But where my corral was right where where the announcers were. So I had a great view of them and that helped pass the time.
So tell us about the race start. You finally get to that point. You were training all this time. You had scheduled the vacation. You had waited a year because of 2021 cancellations. And finally, I mean, because honestly, the finish line's the goal, but the start line is the bigger deal that we never talk about because you got to get to the start line before you can cross the finish line.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, so much happened obviously in the past couple of years that just getting there was a hurdle. When 2021 Princess was canceled, I gave up on my training. Like to be honest with myself, I stopped training for the 10K. Farthest I had ever gotten in that full last year was just the 5K. So in my mind, I'm like, I really hope I'm not, gonna get swept by these balloon ladies. And sure enough, I'm like literally dead last in my corral and the balloon ladies are right behind me. So I have this like
A nightmare come to life right
nightmare.
there.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. I could like you hear about the balloon ladies and there they are literally standing behind me. So I'd been trained at maybe like a 14.5-minute mile with some walks because I knew I was going to stop and take pictures. But them right behind me was just pressure. So when I crossed that start line, there's Ashley like cheering me on. She got me right off from the start. I just bolted because I didn't want to be anywhere near those
Right.
ladies. And I don't know how, but all of a sudden a mile was done. And I looked at my watch and it was like the quickest mile I had ever run. And then I was convinced they shortened the course. I was so convinced. But I think it was accurate. I think I did the whole thing. And
No, it's accurate. They're certified courses. What it is,
I
it's
just
the
couldn't believe it.
excitement, it's the environment, it's the adrenaline because it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful. Like when you're doing when I run my marathons, like I'll look down my first 2 or 3 miles and I'm like, whoa, hold your horses, dude. You got to run 23 more miles. Cause I get so excited. I'm like, sprinting. I'm like, you better hold something back. You are 48 years old. You are never going to make it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're saying. It happens
it
to me.
actually
I'm so
worried me.
excited. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, I knew I was still as fast as I ran that mile. I'm still a slow runner. So I didn't give myself permission to stop for any pictures for that first 5K distance.
Yep.
So my goal was run the boring parts, try to get through that.
Good strategy.
Yeah. And then as soon as I got into Hollywood Studios, I just, I'm like, I think I can do this and I can slow down a little bit. So I did. I stopped. I took pictures of, the Tower of Terror and in front of Rock and Roller Coaster. And then I'm like, I made it. Like I had the confidence that I was not going to get swept. And I took in running in the parks. Like, when do you get to be in the parks at that hour? Epcot is my favorite all-time park. I could spend every day in World Showcase. So when I came around, to that section, I walked like a turtle. I took pictures. I stood in line. I was able to do all that. And I didn't expect that to happen for me. I was thinking I was going to get swept. So I was proud of myself. I was. And then I crossed the finish line, and Ashley was right there again, cheering me on. She got it all on video, and the tears were there for sure. Just that I ran my first, real race, and it was in Disney, and I had a friend cheering me on, and my husband was tracking me. So he knew that I had crossed the finish line. So that was all good. The kids sent me a picture, and it was good.
Well, let me just say, because I know we're going to get into the park touring and all the other stuff that people are not runners care about, because I don't know everybody cares about running, but I sure do. And I know we have a lot of runners in our audience, but first of all, congratulations. That's an amazing story and an accomplishment. And I love hearing this because it is something you have forever. And I tell people always ask, like, what souvenirs do you like from Walt Disney World? And I always say, my favorite souvenirs are kind of my race medals, because every one of those is something that has a story behind it. Whether it was terrible weather or, because it was so cold or it was so hot or it sleeted that one race, or the one race where there was lightning and we never actually really ran it. They just gave us the medals, but we did run it, because we were stupid and it was pouring rain the whole time. Everything's got a story behind it and who you ran it with, or, if you ran it by yourself, what have you. But it's earned, what I'm saying? Like, you earned that medal, you earned that experience, you earned the stories, and you earned those photos in the studios and in Epcot. And that's why I like Run Disney. It gives you that opportunity to take a favorite place, but also see it in a very different way. That is something that you have to do some work, to be able to have that experience. But the work pays off, tenfold when you cross that line. You're just like, okay, it was worth it.
Yeah.
I've always said they should have the next year's sign up, right there at the finish line, because everybody would sign up. I mean, no problem.
Yeah, that probably would have gotten me. Getting that medal, it number one, it's heavy, not gonna lie. Like it's a heavy piece of jewelry. But it was an experience.
All right. Well, let's so you guys go straight to the parks. I like this. I mean, after a race, I'm like, okay, shower, I'm back. I'm chilling for a while. I'm getting breakfast, and then I'm like, okay, I'll roll in at noon. But I usually have a little more time, because again, I used to work in education, and I get it, because that's the one weekend I did dopey and I got in trouble by my district because I stayed one extra day. And that's pretty much how I became a travel agent. No, because I was like that. I had to pick at that point. I said, you know what? 17 years was enough teaching. Let's do something else. But you went straight to the Magic Kingdom for rope drop. Actually, you went to the Contemporary, it looks like, for breakfast over at the Contempo Cafe, because you got to eat. I mean, after you're in a race, you got to eat. And then that's a good place to go, because you can walk right over the Magic Kingdom. So walk us through this day. I'm just looking at your notes, and this day you've already done 7 miles, because the walk and everything to the corrals. I mean, this looks exhausting, like without a race that day. So walk me through this day.
Yep. So we went right to the Contemporary, and I have to say that bus, it took a long time. We went to Wilderness Lodge. We went to the campground. Yeah. So
I've been on that bus.
So while again, my goal was to show Ashley around, I was playing tour guide for the day. I was falling asleep. Like, it was, exactly. No one was talking on the bus. No one was talking. Everyone was either sleeping or just like ready. So we got to Contemporary, and we just wanted quick service. I also wanted to change my shirt, because I had my friend make me a special shirt, to wear in all the park pictures. What I forgot though was I run with knee braces on, and they were really like bothering me, and I didn't want to throw them away. I was very close to throwing them away. So I just stuffed them in bags, and I decided to keep them on, and that was a mistake. But we got right to Magic Kingdom. My goal in Magic Kingdom was to take the picture in front of the castle.
That's what I'm saying. It's where you got to go with the medal. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And just show Ashley the classic rides. So I did forget to mention, as I was running the race, I had someone else purchase Genie and book my first Genie Plus, as well as purchase Remy.
This is
just to
where
have
we
that set
are.
up.
This is where we are in the world. I hate
Yeah.
that we're at this point. And I love Walt Disney World. Don't get me wrong, but I hate that we have to think about that stuff while we're in the middle of a race. We got to have our like triage team booking our lightning lanes. You know.
Yeah, because I never tried the system before, and I'm like, all right, and I treated Ashley to buying Genie. I'm like, this one's on me. So we had some things set up in Magic Kingdom. I think it was maybe Pirates, but I only wanted to do classic rides. So we did Small World, Haunted Mansion, and Pirates, and they were great and classic. But at that point, then we were very hot. I was uncomfortable in those knee braces. The metal was so heavy. I'm like, all right, let's take a little break because our next park was going to be Hollywood Studios. So obviously we can walk there from Dolphin. So we did decide to go back to Dolphin. And I'll say I've stayed at Dolphin so many times, and the bus has always brought you right from Magic Kingdom to the hotel, but you have to get to the TTC now to get back to Dolphin. And we decided to take the big ferry boat because I hadn't done that before. We watched 2 boats come and go and not pick us up. We were the only people in line. So maybe they just didn't think enough people. So that just took a long time. We got the TTC. No one knew where the Dolphin bus or the Swan Dolphin bus came. So we were just sitting there in the blazing sun. So that was just bringing us down a little bit.
And that always happens on a day like that where you're exhausted, or a day like you're in a rush. It never happens on a day where like, we're not in a big hurry.
Yeah. And I felt this pressure because I was showing Ashley everything. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
you're
is
like,
how
yeah.
it works. And you can take a boat, you can take a bus.
Every
And
time. Yeah.
yeah, but she's such a trooper. So all we needed was coffee and some food, and we changed. I got rid of those knee braces, and less than an hour, we just refreshed, and then the walk over to Hollywood Studios is beautiful. I love that walk, and I had just run it, so I'm like, oh, I just ran here.
Like, hey, I just cruised through here. Now I'm just going to enjoy it.
It was dark then.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is what it looks like with the lights on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys walked to the studios, and it says that Ashley's a big Star Wars fan, so you took her to see Galaxy's Edge. Didn't ride anything in there, but really, you don't have to. You just got to kind of just see the Millennium Falcon. Like, it's unbelievable. So what'd she think?
So she was in awe, and that's what hooked her to be like, all right, I guess I'll bring my family here. And she FaceTime with her kids right away because the stormtroopers and just like, I don't, she hasn't researched a thing. She had no idea. So to step into that world, it was very impressive for her. So that was perfect. We didn't do anything but just walk around there. And then we had booked Toy Story Mania, and that was just fun. It was a fun ride to compete with her. She didn't know what to do. I did. I beat her by a lot. Yeah.
You have to, sometimes you just got to beat your friend at games. I mean, you just got to crush them. Just keep them honest. Yeah, good.
Yes, because she could, she's so competitive, and and I would lose to her in everything else, but this one I had.
That's great.
So we booked it out of there. It was fun. She saw what she needed to see, and then I'm like, all right, now let's take the Skyliner. And that was great. The first leg to Caribbean Beach, the family with us kept talking about the accidents and the crashes and getting stuck. And I'm like, okay,
God.
can you please stop?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then once we transferred, we had a really fun group of other single girls that were just having a blast. So that was a better trip over to Epcot, because that was our final park for the day. So Skyliner was great, and she enjoyed that mode of transportation. I get a lot motion sickness, so it's not my favorite.
I do love the Skyliner. I think it's the first ride to get to the rest of the rides. It felt like it better than a bus, but yeah, I get it. I can see where it can give you a little motion sickness. All right, so tell us, you guys get over to Epcot. So how'd that go over there?
Yeah, so I'm really bummed to say it, but Epcot wound up being a disappointment for us for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's my favorite park, and I was, I talked it up so much. The best place for adults with all the restaurants and the food, but I have never in like my 9-10 trips been to Epcot without a festival. And
it's hard to do.
I didn't do extra research of where to get snacks and where to get drinks, because I'm so used to just getting the little booklet and checking off what I want. So we got there and we kind of didn't know what to do and where to go. We wanted to get a drink first and walk around, and anywhere we saw a line for a drink, it was so long. Like each line was just so long. We were kind of losing our energy. We were tired. finally we stopped a cast member. We're like, where can we go to get a drink? And we ended up in Morocco they sell like sangria for two. So we sat, and I think we sat for like 45 minutes and just sat and just kind of recovered and planned out the rest of the day. We're like, all right, if we're a little overwhelmed with where to go, let's start booking some rides. So we booked, actually, I think Remy, our purchase Remy was ready. I knew I would not even be able to open my eyes on the ride, and that's exactly what happened. She loved it. Even she felt a little queasy. I can't even go on there with my eyes closed. It was not the ride for me, but I enjoyed the smells as I was keeping my eyes closed. But she said it was cute. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see, because it does have screens and it's 3D. So if you have I can see where motion sickness could be an issue if you're sensitive to that. Because I felt a little bit of it. It's not bad. I can do it. But yeah, I could see where that would happen. But you were having some bad luck with the rides, because you guys were trying to do Spaceship Earth. It was broken down.
Yep.
You're trying to get on Soarin', but it was kind of a long wait because you guys had a reservation for La Hacienda, had to bail on that to get over to dinner.
Yep.
So just one of those days, it looks like.
It was unfortunate. It's still my favorite park, and I can't wait to redo it. And it didn't leave a bad taste in her mouth. She still was impressed, but we did not accomplish what we really thought we were going to at the park. But dinner was excellent. I had talked up the frozen avocado margarita at La Hacienda. We enjoyed our meal, but I was falling asleep in my plate at that point.
Yeah,
I thought we would last for fireworks. I hadn't seen Harmonious. I wanted to just at least say I saw it. I said, we're out. We're out. Let's go. And
that's a long day. Because you got to remember, like, you were up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and just going. I can't imagine you made it that long. Like, that's a long day, because you're just the distances walking around Epcot, walking to the studios, walking around the studios, around the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. Like, we were crawling back home, but still, it's a beautiful walk back. I love that walk back. We took the boardwalk way back and kind of took that in as our last time. And unfortunately, we had to set our alarms for 5 a.m. the next day because we had a super early flight. But we felt accomplished. It still was a good day. We were tired. We were done.
It looks like you got home. Early travel day on Sunday, but you made it home and got to watch your kids' sports. So,
right,
that's really kind of right. That's what it's all about. I love watching my kids play sports. So,
yep, it was back to reality.
Exactly. That's good stuff. It's why we do what we do for our kids. So let me ask you this as we wrap up. This has been a lot of fun, talking about all the stuff in the theme parks, but especially the running stuff for me. Somebody that might be looking at signing up for Princess here in the next, week to 10 days when the registration opens up, what would you tell them as far as your experience? Like, what was something maybe that you got out of it that you weren't expecting, or something that you wish you would have known beforehand? Somebody would have told you that about the weekend.
Sure. I think the biggest thing for me was it got me to run. I have never run ever in my life. And once I had committed to that date, I knew I wanted to make it count. So that was the biggest motivator for me to just continue to run. COVID made it easier because I was working remote. I don't get to work remote ever, to school. So that helped. But yeah, it was a big motivating. I joined groups and Facebook groups to keep me motivated. The Lizards, I was part of that. And it's a huge community. It is a huge, huge community. I think, I don't know if I had my numbers right, but like 13,000 10K runners, like that was huge.
It is. When you think about it, you go to these races at Disney, and when you think about, like, if you take away all the pageantry of the event, really what boils down to, you have, 15,000 people standing in the Epcot parking lot in January at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, this is really the reality of this from all around the world. Like, people have flown and paid thousands of dollars to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get on a bus, stand in sometimes 40, 45 degree weather for 2 hours to then go run 6 miles or 3 miles or what have you, whatever the race is. But the thing is, like you said, people were smiling. I guarantee, as they're listening to the show today, that, the excitement of getting to that start line, the excitement of your friend getting to be there and share that moment with you. And I'm sure when you got back, relaying the story to your kids, and that's an inspiration to your kids. I would imagine that, I truly believe that, kids parents are the role models for their kids. And, they might not say it, but seeing their mom chase down something like this, get physically active, go participate in a big, big race down at Walt Disney World, it's got to go a long way with them. Even if our kids don't say it, I bet you it's there.
I do know it affected them. They are floating the idea of doing the 5K, one day. But I think I told you before, I'm not racing. I'm not racing to sign up for the next one, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, there's always going to be a next race. We hope so. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on, Jess. It's been a lot of fun for me, and I know for our audience as well. And maybe not this next race, but hopefully I'll see you in the corrals a few years down the road. It'll be a good time to see you out there.
Sounds good. And my mind remains open to do it in the future.
It's good. It's good that you're not addicted right away, because 95% of the people are, and then it gets to be insanity. And then you're buying sneakers every 2 months, and it's something hard to keep up with. But again, thanks for coming on, and good luck on the rest of your school year, by the way. Wrap it up.
Thank you.
Wrap up strong.
Okay. Have a great summer. Enjoy Disneyland.
Absolutely. All right. Don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Don't forget, last week we started booking those 2023 Walt Disney World vacation packages. So if you want to head to Walt Disney World here in 2023, and of course we can still book 2022. We're not just getting rid of this year either. You can just swing by the magicforless.com, fill out that free, no obligation quote form, and we'll take great care of you right there. Mention the show, and you and I are going to work on that trip together. So again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click really does help us out. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you very much to our patrons who support the podcast each and every month. You guys allow us to put this show out 3 to 4 times a week all around the world. We could not do this without you. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest every week. If you'd like to join us, we'd sure love to have you. Come on over to patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'd love to talk to you this week. I'm at beourguestmike on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the show on Facebook and YouTube to search for the Be Our Guest Podcast, and join us this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. It's you, me, and Scotty G. We'll be talking Disney and taking your calls. You're the star of the show Sunday night, so come on over and hang out with us for an hour, and let's talk about anything you want to speak about when it comes to Disney. All right, we're going to get out of here and let you get on with your week. Thanks again, as always, for hanging with us, and hope you enjoyed a little theme park talk, a little dolphin talk, a little Run Disney talk to get you excited here to start the week. And we'll be back again with more listener questions on Wednesday. So until then, for Jess, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Time to get back to work. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Woo, that was fun. Yeah. Corinne. Yeah, I'm just getting right back to work. That's how I'm doing this show. I just took a little break. That's what I did. Hey, thanks for coming on, Jess. I appreciate it. And this will be out on Monday.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Have a good night.
Alrighty, have a good one. Almost there. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. See you, everybody.